All right, so we've figured out how to actually access the Gale databases. We have opened up the opposing viewpoints and context. Now it's time to actually figure out if this database is going to work for us. So again, up top, I do actually have this really big, bright search bar. I get that it's tempting, but hold off on that search bar. It is always going to look into the opposing viewpoints. At the same time, we generally have other ways of getting the information and finding a more direct route without having to constantly shift through a bunch of pages that don't really deal with our topic. So, what I typically recommend, and all the databases will always look the same. Up top, it will actually have the name of the database, but other than that, everything for the most part it all looks the same. The databases are categorized in different overarching topics, and then they go down into smaller ones. When you're looking at this, though, there's actually a way to find what we're looking for. So when we're up top, we do actually have a browse issues option up here. The browse issues option is what I'm going to be clicking on in which to look at more specific topics. So we'll go ahead and click browse issues. From there, I am actually going to get a full list of every topic that is covered in this particular database. And there's a lot of them, don't get me wrong. I can scroll down and it actually looks a little overwhelming. It is categorized alphabetically, so it does make life a little bit easier. There's even a better way to start trying to filter down. Up top, when you are at the Browse Issues tab, it does have a Choose Category option. And when I do that and click on it, it gives me a rundown of different like bigger topics, kind of like from the front page. Well, if I'm looking for if technology makes us feel more alone, I kind of have maybe two or three that would potentially work. So, for instance, I have family issues. That could be something. I have science, technology, and ethics. And then I have society and culture. Well, if I know I'm dealing with technology and I've got the keyword technology here, this is the one I'm going to look at first. So when I click on that, it's going to get rid of a bunch of the topics that have nothing to do with science, technology, and ethics. This means that my list has gone down significantly. From here, I can start looking through the different topics and start trying to figure out whether or not that one applies. So they are alphabetical and I can kind of scan down, and obviously like bioterrorism doesn't work with anything. Charter schools has nothing to do with it. Things like globalization, human genetics, no, not really. Um, this does become a little bit of a search and find. However, you will probably come across something that makes you go, huh, that can potentially have some use. So, for instance, I actually have a couple ones here. I have mental disorders. Well, if I'm dealing with loneliness and I'm dealing with loneliness and technology, I'm kind of dealing a little bit with happiness there too. This one could potentially have some information that I'm looking for. I also have social media up here. Well, if I'm dealing with technology and being alone, the social aspect of technology is what I'm actually kind of looking at. So that would also be something. So I have two that I'm already seeing potentials on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for anything that has potential. And, well, I'm just going to pick on one and kind of look through it. So let's start with mental disorders. When I click on mental disorders, it is going to take me to what looks like a new page. However, this is just going to be like a catch-all for everything dealing with science, technology, and ethics and mental disorders. It does give me a great rundown about what mental disorders are. It also tells me what's actually on this page, so it gives me a rundown of how many of each type of source is listed here. Underneath that, they're all going to look the same. The same way that the front page kind of split into categories, these different topic pages will also be split into categories. Now, this is not all the actual materials that are listed here. However, these are kind of like the top highlights. So for instance, I have viewpoints up here, which has 242 different articles. I've got reference, which has 134, biographies that have 6. I have statistics and primary sources, all sorts of stuff that could potentially help me when it comes to figuring out potential sources for my paper. So a lot of them are here. A lot of them are useful. However, there's an easy way to start filtering through. Obviously, I do not want to go through and read 3,076 academic journals. I do not want to have to shift through 927 different magazine articles dealing with mental health. I'm not looking for that. I am, however, looking for technology and mental health. So I do have a search bar down here, and I'm going to do some digging. So if I'm looking for technology and whether or not it makes people feel alone, maybe I'll type in loneliness and see what comes up. Now, from here, I do have a lot of different options. It's only giving me 6 though. Just by looking at the title, I can tell that none of these are really something that I'm looking for. These aren't really the topics that I'm trying to find. So instead, I'm going to get rid of loneliness up here, and I'm going to try a different search term. This becomes the reason why doing any sort of searches is a bit of a dilemma, because the whole point is you have to have the right search term. If you're trying to search for something and you're using the wrong words, it's AI technology and it's not going to give you what you're looking for. So I need to figure out what the right search term is. So I'm going to think about different ways I can put my topic in. So if I'm dealing with loneliness, I'm dealing with technology. I'm also dealing with happiness or happy. So let's try happy as a search term. Okay, well, I'll get 26. With this here, again, all I'm going to do is read the titles. And from the titles, I'm not really getting what I'm looking for. Nope, not really what I'm looking for, right? So I have to go back. With this, let's try something new. Loneliness and happiness haven't gotten me what I'm looking for. It keeps giving me a wide range, but none of these are really dealing with technology, and that's what I'm looking for. So let's actually start doing something on the technology scale when it comes to having keywords. So I'm going to get rid of happiness again, and I'm going to search for technology. So let's do social media. Okay, now I've got a little something else, right? I do have some things that don't have anything to do with my topic, but digital multitasking, depression and anxiety, that might actually have some potential. So going into this particular article, I can click in and it does give me an article that has some potential. So here I do have some commentary. This would be a great way just to read really quick. It's kind of like an abstract, which will just give you an overview of what the article is talking about. However, from a brief little overview, it's dealing with relationships and technology, and this could actually be something of use. So this could definitely work. This means that it could be potentially one of the resources that I use. So from here, I need to figure out what I'm actually going to do with this article. Now, granted, there are other databases, which means let's look back at that browse issues and see if we can't come up with another one. So I know that this has potential. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see if there's anything else that's potential. Before I do that though, I do need to make sure that I have this saved. So if I need to go back to it, I can. There's a bunch of different tools over here. Most of the tools are pretty self-explanatory, like print or email. There is one that is, however, a little tricky. So there is a save to my folder option here, which seems to be how I would save this article. Unfortunately, though, that is not going to be a good idea. The thing with this is that if I save to my folder, it's only going to save it for this particular session. Meaning, the moment I log off, the moment I click out of the screen, I'm going to lose literally everything that I had in that folder. Here's the better way to do it. Third option is send to Google Drive. That's actually what I'm going to, which means when I click on it, it's going to ask me for my Google Drive information, and then I can save it to my Google Drive for later access. This is going to be how I share or how I keep all of my materials. I simply need to allow access, and I've got it saved. awesome.